Sermon 3 from Nahjul Balagah is known as the Sermon of Shaq Aya. Abu Bakr was also known as Abu Qahafa. And Abu Bakr knew that Ali was going to be Caliph. And there was issue with the handing over the caliphate to Umar. And there was issue with Uthman being appointed by only 6. And it wasn't just, oh, well, it was his turn. It was the whole process. The Prophet said, choose amongst yourselves. So they, only chose with 6 people the second time around. And so for 2 and 3, the process created an issue. But there was more to it than that. There was some patience in the passing through the different caliphates. But all 3 of the first, they held things together. And mistakes were made, but honestly, compare any of them. Even who's the one that the Saudis honor? But even him, the better of the Umayyad caliphs, better than a lot of the rulers we have today. But compared to what they were looking at there, that one was a tyrant. وَمِرَحْمَتِهِ جَعَلَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ لِتَسْكُنُوا فِيهِ وَلِتَبْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. I was supposed to read تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًّا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. I'd accidentally read 73 instead of 83. And let us remember that the hereafter the better place in the hereafter is for those with humility and aren't making things about exalting their own position. And they're not ones to be mischievous. And they're of the regarding ones. And one of the things that we're warned about when it comes to leaders is when they make it about their own wealth. Instead of taking a minimal salary, they take up a lot of salary. And at this time, things were already getting difficult in terms of how some people regarded Hassan and Hussein, which, of course, marks one of the prophecies that one might be familiar with from some of the Sunni sources, is that 60 years after a certain point, then, things were going to happen, and they did. Because of the martyrdoms with Ashura. And it's not about government in the first place to stockpile wealth. They're supposed to increase how things are for the people, to better the situation and safety for the people. And let's not make things, your in-laws or your friends. Let's not turn away from what's right, politically and otherwise, because of those relationships. And there's a lot that can be added to that. And I'm not quite as smooth with some of this, but, Letter 2 was written to the people of Kufa after the victory of Basra. And remember, in theory and in practice, because if people differed, it was not because of Islam. Islam didn't allow wars of conquests. They liberated oppressed people. They fought against people who fought them, and that was, basically it. There was no wars of conversion and all that. And let us remember that as much as they should do it for itself, the people who fight need to be publicly thanked for what they did. All this stuff in my country, all this thank you for your service and veterans discounts and all that, that's, But the thing is, it's who were they obedient to? Did they just, the Bible tells you not to serve your country. Don't do it for your country. You can do it because it's right. You can do it to help people, but, you don't just merely fight for your country. And one of the ways to victory on all fronts is to be careful as to, being prompt about things. And so, saying 3 in Nahjul Balagah, shame should keep us from doing things, and it should keep us from not doing things. And not having means is a sort of disability, so, people are excused as far as they don't have means. That includes intelligence. It's not just wealth, it's intelligence too. And if you don't have much, but should you use your money to get known? No, just like if you're actually hospitable and charitable, whether you're rich or poor, it's good to keep some things secret. Like, I was sitting with, I think we were on the way to this one guy's mansion. And the thing was, one, the idea was that the community would match his donation. If the community reached $1 million in donation, or $500,000 or something, he would put that into. Or if they reach $500,000, he put in 2 million. If they reached a full million, he put another 2 million in, or something like that. To show that it was the better place to put it. But he didn't want it known, except as far as was necessary, that this donation was being made. And a lot of people are rich. You don't necessarily know they're rich. Okay, they're earning more than average, because they have a car that's, $50,000 car when other people have a 20 or something like that. Or maybe it's a little bit more than that, but they're not driving $200,000 cars just because they have 10 million in the bank. Some people do. I met a guy who did, and resulted in all sorts of problems. But he wasn't a pious man, so this isn't what that was talking about. And if you want to be brave or develop any other good quality, what you do is you endure and build it up. You abstain from even some frivolity, and it becomes a richness. You're not suffering. And if you restrain yourself in some ways, it of course would protect you from some sins. And sin, of course, meaning mistake.